doo. First of all, let me check something here. 183, 455. Holy beep. We definitely need to gain a level at this, which we're on our way to doing that, so that's cool. Okay. So we want to go into the item shop. Because I believe that's where the black market actually is in this game. That's where it was in the original game too, come to think of it. Jack certainly is. Jack spends a fair amount of time in jail, so it's all good. So I think you just want to use the black pass on the merchant. As weird as that is. I see what you have there. I suppose the right time has finally come. Okay, I'm a man of my word. Let me open up the secret door. Ooh. Now we can't get upstairs. We're going into the black market. It's pretty cool. There's also books in here. When the last second is gone. There is one altar which rules the universal time flow. It is called the Perpetual Engine, which is an optional dungeon we briefly visited to grab a few chests, so we're going to have to go back there at some point. The door which leads into eternity has been closed off for years and years at the altar. Should you indeed hold the time key, stand on the altar, face the pillar, and then request the door to open. The morning signifies 7 o'clock. The afternoon signifies 2 o'clock. The night signifies 9 o'clock. The time flow is absolute. To signify the time is also absolute. As you obey the law of time, the pillar shall shine with blue light at 12, and you may catch a glimpse of eternal flow. So that's kind of a hint on what you need to do there, but we'll get back to that at some other point. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Okay. I don't think there's any items in here. No. So let's talk to Mr. Dude. Flaherty? Welcome. It would be an honor to grant your wishes and requests. Handpan, Jack, I've heard about you two from my boss. How wonderful it is to see friendship between two different species. Please take your time, look around. I wonder if he says something different for each character. You are Rudy, right? My boss has told me you are quite a warrior. And you're addicted to sugar packets. How wonderful it is. Anyhow, do you think you could handle some of what I have in store? I don't know about that. You are a noble lady of Adlehyde, right? I am so delighted to have a shrine maiden grace my humble store. It is truly my honor. Yeah, okay, that's pretty wonderful. A mini library. A library with one bookshelf. So, we still gotta be careful not to get thrown out. I mean, who gets thrown out of the black market? That's just taking things too far. So they got some good skills we can buy that are really expensive. 120,000, 500,000, 140,000. Can't afford this. And of course there's an X-File key that costs 9,999,999, much like in Wild Arms 3. So you pretty much got to get max money. Which you can pretty much get by selling MP repairs. But I'm not going to worry about doing that yet. Bum bum bum. So I think we're going to read Chapter 8 and then call this a stream. I think that's what we're going to do. Sounds like a good idea. We'll get that out of the way before we end the stream. Also, now probably wouldn't be a bad time to do the Novice League at the arena. But we'll get to that. We will get to that. Doo-doo-doo. We're gonna go read Chapter 8. Carlton Sheets style. It'll be good times. For all parties involved. And once again, we'll try not to get thrown out of the library, but no promises. You never know. Jack may decide to get a little rowdy, so... that's just his way. Okay. The hell kind of order is that? So, Chapter 8. The title is The City of Jasper. Oh boy. I'm not sure how many chapters there are. There were 11 in Wild Arms 3. I'm not sure about this game. Probably 11 again if I had to guess. But who knows. Chapter 8, The City of Jasper. In the desert, the heat beat down on us. We can reach the city soon. Lori pointed into the distance. She was probably thinking of that episode of Luigi's Adventure she watched this morning. It was quite humorous. When I shaded my eyes, I could see a glass tower stand gracefully, twisting high in the air. This is the city of Jasper. It was more developed than I imagined. That big silhouette struck me as the embodiment of power, in contrast to the emptiness of the desert. The desert of death might be a result of oversupplying energy to the capital. It felt distorted to me and I sighed. Lori brought me back to our goal. The Passover starts tomorrow night. We made it somehow. Yes, we did. What are we going to do until tomorrow? Well, we could watch some MXCC, I suppose. Lori paused when I spoke, and I hurried on to another thought. Let's wait for Ayashi and Etta. Though that's not what I wanted to say. Her face flushed. What? Though I asked because I didn't understand, Lori shook her head. Nothing, please. Never mind. She started to walk with a quick pace. What was bothering her? Did I really smell that badly? A knight wearing expensive silver armor gave us admittance into the city, and we went on our way. Many kinds of people hurried past us, in this city built of glass and light. It's awesome! I felt my jaw go slack as I gazed upon the spectacle of it. During the Passover, many pilgrims come to see the miracles the Holy King performs. Lori spoke as she walked beside me. But I think when it's a really busy time, on the Passover day, why does the Holy King invite me to his palace? Does he want to watch some speedruns with me? Based on the way he dealt with others, I did not expect him to send me back to my own time period. Such thoughts depressed me as I stared at a delicately built fountain. Kane, look over there! Lori pointed at the corner of the city. It was a clock with 12 gods drawn on it. Though far away, I could tell it was detailed. Since it's time, we can see the trick. Oh, the trick. That's nice. The hand showing 9:59. Moved and light began to blow from the center of Jasper, swirling like a powder as it went. Standing in the center of the light was the goddess of the moon. You mean Luna? Shining clothes of gossamer adorned her milk-colored skin. I felt drawn by her dazzling beauty. The goddess turned her body gracefully and began to dance over the pilgrims who reached out their hands to her. She's beautiful, but... The crowds tried to grab the light created by the goddess's every movement. The goddess kept dancing over them as if nothing connected her to them. I could not imagine giving my heart to a god like they do, so purely and completely. I understood then why the sisters called me a threat and tried to send me back to where I properly belonged. Someone who has as much to spare as me might lead them astray like Kaineruda. Kane, you didn't like it? I think Luigi's Adventure is a little too difficult for my tastes. As the moon goddess disappeared, Lori gave a worried look at me. Of course, it was beautiful. Nothing like that exists in my time, I said, trying not to make it sound hollow. It is good, isn't it? Lori smiled slowly and batted her curved lashes at me. Is there anything you want to see next? Let's see. We could go play some SMRPG. I turned my head to one side and focused on the stall over Lori's shoulder. I want to eat something sweet. At my words, Lori pouted her lips. Kane, do you like sweets? She muttered and my cheeks flushed. Though I do like spicy foods, I'm getting sick of dried meat. You don't get sick of dried fruits? Lori answered back with a laugh. No, I don't. This made her burst into laughter. She smirked at me. Then suddenly she ran to the direction of the stall. As I watched her flaxen hair waving, I felt a combination of happiness and guilt that seemed to last forever, though I meet the Holy King tomorrow. Kane, thank you for waiting. I saw a copy of Lufia 2 and I wanted to pick it up. Lori came back and passed a brown paper bag to me as we sat on the edge of the fountain. She didn't poop in it, did she? Her lips looked a little redder than usual. What? I realized I was watching Lori's face when she turned her head to one side. I said nothing, and opened the brown paper sack stained by butter. I bit into the perfectly brown dough. The coconut custard in the dough melted on my tongue. I was fascinated by the harmony of the custard in the dough. Lori, you should eat too. I passed her half of the coconut pie. It's delicious. Lori bit into the pie and smiled. Sweets make you happy, don't you think? I licked the remaining custard on the paper. Yes, you are right. Lori made a thoughtful face. The happiness you feel when eating sweets is like the feeling that you get from patting a soft and fluffy small animal. I see. My smile was drawn out by her thought. The sun shined on the glass tower. The shadow fell on the surroundings. A seabird was circling overhead. It's a beautiful world. I narrowed my eyes and turned to Lori. Then the crowd disappeared and the world started to lose color suddenly. A translucent ball floated in the darkness. We were trapped within it. My ears rang with sharp pain. Kinaruda? Lori stood in front of me. I'm going. Lori drew a crest without hesitation and shot red thunder to it. Is that like fire thunder? But a mirror-like screen appeared in front of it and absorbed the power. It can't be! But it is. Lori stopped her magic, though the thunder didn't stop its beating. Lori's face was awash in terror. Her magical power is drawn into it. Then the place reversed the flow of power and filled the hollow with Lori's magic. Lori, watch out! I drew my sword and tried to cut the unearthly thunder. You can't cut thunder with a sword! Can't do that on television. Can't do that on the Weather Channel. Come on, man. In response, soft tentacles defended against my blade. As Lori still was pulled by her hands, she got a cold sweat on her forehead. Hold on! I couldn't stop it unless I cut the cause of it. I raised my sword to attack and got closer to the unearthly brightness. This is a hunting dog? I smelled the familiar scent. Then I heard Lori fall down behind me. I turned back and ran to her. Her body was floating in the air. Her flaxen hair framed her pale cheek. The light pulsed almost expectantly. Lori's body went through the top of the globe and stopped there. At the same time, the space trembled. As if in laughter. Who was there? As I raised my sword, I looked around. I saw a couple people watching an episode of Star Ocean. There's a theory that one who captures an innocent girl is an evil witch. The unwanted voice echoed. Kinaruda! The purple light bulb exploded, and her slim silhouette appeared. She held two swords and laughed at me as I stared hard at her. She threw the sword in her left hand at me. Take the sword. Don't tell me what to do, jerk. Unless you hurry, Lori will die. Kinaruda raised one corner of her mouth. Why? I screamed. I told you, when next we meet it would end. Kaineruda drew her sword smoothly as I screamed with confusion. Weren't you going to prevent the Passover of the Holy King? She smiled softly. The Holy King asked me to come to the capital for the Passover. I continued to speak with a shaking tongue. He keeps the people afraid of him by the miracles that he performs. If that's how the Holy King grasps people's minds, the role that I will be doing is what? Something or another? Preparation H. Aw, yeah. Vincent Hernandez style. It seems you finally understand. The miracle he performs uses power that is caused by killing you, the tremble of space and time. She put her slim finger on the blades in front of her as a purple light flowed out of it. It was probably baked in grape juice. The Holy King plans to kill you in front of Lori, to let Lori have the strength that he thinks she should have. Her expression was clouded with pain. But when the Holy King told me about it, a strong impulse was born inside of me. You should become mine. Without a word, I took the sword given me. It was the only way to atone for my sin. I would now have to watch Vegas Dark quit Luigi's adventure over and over again. When I found out that you came to this world, I thought I finally found someone with whom I can share my loneliness. I nodded and lit up my blade as Kaineruda did. But I didn't go with you. She looked up at me and smiled. Because of it, I can be cruel to you. At those words, almost like a signal, Kaineruda and I readied our swords. Ha! Without giving me the time to think, Kaineruda bent her body, twirled her sword, and came after me. I moved my sword horizontally and parried the attack, making my palm numb. Without time for me to be surprised at the power in her slim body, she attacked me quickly in rapid succession. The wind that her sword caused was fierce. It's not good. My hilt grew slippery with sweat. Sparks flew from the two swords. If you keep guarding, you can't beat me. I got upset by her provoking smile and slashed my sword straight at her. Too late. Her silver hair flew. Her long leg kicked my stomach precisely. My sight was drawn to the hunting dog getting closer to Lori. Oh! I restrained myself from coughing and stood up by twisting my body. You can't beat me, Kaineruda, watching me laughed. Because I have swordcraft that is newer than the one from your time, she got close to me without hesitation. Without responding to her provocation, I switched my balance to my left hand. Go! I lifted my right hand high over my head and cut her down from the shoulder. Not good enough. She avoided the attack and slashed her sword out at my throat. The tip of the sword bore a purple blaze and cut my upper arm horizontally. Once again, I could taste the grape juice. This is not good. My forehead broke out in a cold sweat. I could feel my temperature dropping. My wound. It stained my arm with blood. That's too bad. Kaineruda smiled with confidence. I have you now. Sharp attacks come like a gale as I try to fend them off. I can't die here. I haven't finished watching that Luigi's Adventure playthrough yet. I strained my eyes to trace the blade. If I could block it, I could still turn this fight around. In desperation, I crossed my sword with hers. But it was too difficult. I lost my grip as my hand slipped in my own blood. After our swords clashed several times, Kaineruda succeeded in knocking the blade from my hand. Kaineruda took a deep breath and flipped her silver hair that covered my eyes. A lock of her hair flew in the air. It's just hair, amazing swordsman. Kaineruda flushed as she spoke, then caught the hair on her fingers. Take it as your pride and die. Kaineruda leveled her sword at me. No, I don't want to die. Her cold purple eyes reflected me. I saw the terror in my own eyes. Kaineruda raised her sword over her head. At that moment, a loud roaring sound and strong lights pierced the shield. It happened all at once. Unsure what was happening, I covered my eyes and ears, trying to shield myself from the great impacts. Ha! Oh! My attention was drawn by a weak, moaning voice. Lori? Her slim, cold fingers grabbed my hand. As I hurriedly grabbed those fingers, the laughter, like coughing, echoed faintly. I opened my eyes. In front of me, Kinaruda bled thin streams of blood from her mouth. Why? I raised her in my arms and screamed. It's the wrath of the Holy King. She who was in my arms smiled. I tried to kill you, the sacrifice he wanted, even taking her as my hostage. It's a rightful punishment. It might be with a mind to create a disaster of space-time with your death. Kinaruda shook her head. I'm the rule breaker who cannot go back. Even if I die, he cannot have enough power for a miracle of the Holy King. I heard the sound of Lori's body hitting the floor behind me. Kinaruda's strong fingers kept me from turning back to her instantly. Do you want to keep living in this period, even if you become a rule breaker? No. If I can't believe in the gods, I should not be in this world. Kinaruda smiled at my words. I thought you would say as much. I will send you to where the holy god is with my remaining power. Kinaruda smiled. I don't intend for Lori to get involved. Kinaruda smiled by my words. You don't have to worry about her because she is a... pool expert? Because she is of the Holy King's line? When I said what she hesitated to say, Kinaruda opened her eyes widely. It's just my gut feeling. She laughed softly at me and muttered. I've worked for the Holy King since it's impossible for me to go home. I thought he who is the highest priest could save me from this despair. She's homeless. Kinaruda paused and batted her eyes. As you know already, he was the worst person to ask for help, even worse than Bonga. The Passover is tomorrow. The ceremony that makes you a sacrifice must still be underway. I took Kinaruda's hand and nodded. Goodbye, Kane. Perhaps one day I will see you again, and we will play Demo World together. Her faint voice whispered. With her body, her shield started to fade. Glorious sunlight slowly filled my sight. When I looked around in surprise, I saw a beautiful corridor, fashioned of marble. This is the palace? From only a short distance away, Lori's voice was faint. She shook her head and stood up. The moment when I was about to run to her, loud footsteps approached us from behind. I gasped, turning around. Dressed in a robe, embroidered with ornate patterns, was a man who looked like Lori. His eyes reminded me of the ICC. He was clearly a big fan of the Ouija. You must be Kane. I nodded, awed by his deep voice. I am the Holy King, Alexander the 12th, and father to young Lori. Sacrifice. Welcome to my palace. And thus ends Chapter 8. Good times being had here in Hyrule. Alrighty then. The chapter down. Dude. And we didn't get thrown out of the library, so that's a double bonus. I think we're doing pretty good. I think we're doing pretty swell. Bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. Leave me alone, man. I'm going the wrong way. Oh my god. I am a disgusting son of a bitch. Plain and simple. So we're just gonna head over to Devil's Playground. Do 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 do. That's not where we wanted to go, but okay. But that's cool. That's pretty sweet. Pretty swag. I'll be honest with you. Alrighty then. Bum ba da bum 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 bum. Devil's Playground. Do do do. Do 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 do. Bum bum bum. Facility break. Alright, do we need to stay? I don't... Yeah, we probably should. Well, you don't really stay, you use this machine. So we'll just do that. Alright. So we're gonna drop a save Carlton Sheet style. And we're gonna call this a stream here. And we'll do the Novice League next time. Before we move on. 54 hours. Good times. So, thanks everyone for stopping by. Sharing in some of those fish tacos. They were good stuff. And I shall see y'all next time. Good stuff.